We start with the Buffalo Bills, and their draft is headlined by these three gentlemen: Kair Elam, the cornerback out of Florida, followed up by James Cook. And I honestly, Khalil Shakir isn't really like a big three, but just for AJ, I threw him in for the big three for the Buffalo Bills. Realistically, it should have been Terrell Bernard, the linebacker out of Baylor, but just for AJ, I gave them Khalil Shakir, the wide receiver out of Boise State, because you are so high on him, AJ. Start there. Khalil
I
Shakir,
am,
the
man. I
Buffalo
think this
Bills.
guy is a stud. Khalil Shakir is a receiver who fell kind of lower in the draft when really it's just because he played at Boise State and they only got so much clout on him. This is the type of guy when we talked about him, I think I had him going to the Saints. Thought he'd be a good fit there because Jameis Winston likes to throw the deep ball. But man, you want to talk about a deep ball and a strong arm. Josh Allen is going to love this guy. Remember, they brought Emmanuel Sanders in, and what he was best at was that average depth of target, was hitting 20, 21 yards down the field on per catch. That's what this guy can do. He can burn. He's a real deal deep threat. He's got great hands, catches the ball soft in the basket. He can catch it with one hand. He can moss you. He can moss them. Catches over 3, 4, 5, 6 people if he needs. This guy has some of the best hands I've seen in this draft. I like the kid a lot. I think Josh Allen is going to like the kid a lot. And in a couple years, you'll see him as a slot in right there, ready to go receiver for Josh Allen. Khalil Shakir, remember the name. And since that B-roll, didn't do him justice, head over to YouTube, subscribe to the Stack City Pod, and then look up Khalil Shakir and check out some of his highlights.
See, I don't even want to do this because it's not even fair. Like, I don't want to disrespect Khalil Shakir. I don't want to disrespect, but AJ makes it so hard to say good things about him because of how he talks about him. Like, I don't want to be the guy. I don't want to be the guy that says he was the 21st wide receiver, the 21st wide receiver taken in this draft. And then you talk about, oh, it's Boise State and they don't get a lot of love. Your WNBA player plays at Western Michigan. Okay. There's guys. Jalen Tolbert was in South Alabama. Okay? SMU. Okay. Nevada. We're talking about teams that don't win anything.
Yet they were taken, track record.
Yet they were picked ahead of Khalil Shakir. And again, I actually agree with you. I think this guy's a Swiss Army knife, but you make it so hard to like him. You make it so hard to like him because your hype level on him is so high, and he's going to be a backup to one of the best receivers in football.
19 teams made a mistake.
Oh, my God.
19?
Well, no, I mean, you got to even include the team he went to because Buffalo took some other draft picks before they took Khalil Shakir. So the fact is
all good drafting. I ain't saying he's supposed to be a first-round pick. We're talking about great value.
Hey,
I gave him 100 whatever.
When they got him, I think you're right. It's a good value pick. I gave him a B- because I think it's just going to take time for him to get on the field behind the guys that are ahead of him. But I actually do like the fit with a Josh Allen if he's given the opportunity. And that's my biggest question mark here. There's many times I've thought players are great skill-wise. They go to situations and they never get to see or never get to show that on the field. Jamison Crowder being there doesn't help Khalil Shakir. Them signing Isaiah McKenzie back doesn't help Khalil Shakir. Stephon Diggs and Gabriel Davis already there. You add in a James Cook, who we haven't even discussed yet, which is big for them out of the passing game because he wasn't a heavy volume runner, is going to take away from opportunities from Khalil Shakir to get on the field. So I love the ability. I worry about the opportunity.
Yeah, they got Stephon Diggs, Gabriel Davis, Isaiah McKenzie. They did bring in Jamison Crowder. I don't know if that matters at all. But then Khalil Shakir. So I mean, like, it's a lot of wide receivers in that room. A lot of wide receivers.
I mean, he's got as many shots as Wan'Dale Robinson, Mr. Sir.
The difference is no, you're right. You're right.
He goes
very.
They both come in Canada.
Like he was about to load up.
No, you're right initially. But the difference within the Giants is the injury history of a Kenny Golladay, a Sterling Shepard, a Darius Slayton, who have all been injured. We're not sure about Kadarius Toney. Also, two of those receivers being on their way out versus Buffalo, who just re-signed Stephon Diggs, just re-signed Isaiah McKenzie, and Gabriel Davis ain't going anywhere. So those are two different situations. But yes, Wan'Dale Robinson still has to make an impact. And I'm not saying he's going to be an impact this year. I like the situation more because of the future. I think he has the easier path to playing time than a Khalil Shakir. Not to mention, it's the Giants. So they're probably not going to win because of Daniel Jones. And then at the end of the season, what do? You play your young guys. Whereas Buffalo, they're going to be winning. Those young guys may not get those opportunities. Does that answer your concern? Thank you.
I had a feeling
he's going to find his way onto that field.
You made it into fruition with your point. Good job, Eric.
Hey, I hope Khalil Shakir does a Victor Cruz. And I know Victor Cruz wasn't drafted and all this stuff, but has that preseason where you're like, damn, we cannot keep this guy off the field. Like, we got to find a way to get this guy on the field. It can happen. We've seen it before. Again, I worry about the opportunity. But if he's given that opportunity and he takes the most of it, he's a Swiss Army knife. He can do a lot. So that helps him.
And then he takes the homies on the boat right before the playoffs.
I didn't even want to spend that much time on Khalil Shakir, but I knew we were going to because of AJ. I just knew it. I just knew it.
There's one more player that we got to discuss here, and it's Balin Spector.
Dylan? Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Spectors.
Okay. All
this
right.
is Balin, baby. This kid's out of Clemson. I gave him an A. I did. I watched him play football. He was right next to that kid, the Venables. The hard hitting, the Skalski. Those linebackers at Clemson were pretty damn good. And I watched them play the Irish both, obviously, in the 2020 season where they won at home, surprisingly. And then they got their teeth kicked in pretty hard, which normally happens when they play a championship game with names on the back of their jerseys. But Spector, on the other hand, that dude was all over the place. I think he's a solid linebacker that you can have in the 7th round. Vinny, stop laughing, man. It's unbelievable how this guy. There's some guys that have great college production that just really just fall, and this is one of those guys that I think if he can get that to translate. Hunter Renfrow was a late round pick out of Clemson. He was good on their offensive side of the ball. Now he's a great receiver. I think Spector going into a situation like Buffalo, he's a hard tackler, and I think he plays well. I think 7th round is an absolute steal for someone of that caliber with that football IQ that went to a high program like Clemson that's played in big games. I think that's a great pick by Buffalo in the 7th round.
Okay.
I actually don't hate it. He was a second team all ACC, I think, in 2020, about where he should have got drafted. I'm not going to say an A, but you're looking at a backup linebacker in the NFL. And that if you can have staying power in the NFL, that's a good player. So not all these players have to be starters, by the way. I think that's the point there.
I will say we do have one more player left, and I am very high on this guy. It's Kaiir Elam, the cornerback out of Florida. I really like that pick, by the way. I'm just messing with AJ here, but I really like that pick. I don't know if you guys have been seeing the buzz, like him talking about, like, when they call him, he's like, "Hey, put that playbook on the plane. Like, make sure that playbook's on the plane." And during his draft interview with the Bills, he brought out like a list, like a notes and all that stuff. Like, I don't know.
I didn't understand that. They don't put playbooks on planes. Your ass comes to the facility to pick up your playbook. You're not allowed. They don't send the playbook to you on a plane. Your ass comes to the facility and picks it up. So you get to the facility and pick that shit up. We ain't sending nothing to you. I do love the pick, though, by the way. I do love the pick. Hey, hasn't Kaiir Elam ever watched Hard Knocks? Because what's the first thing they do? They come bring you in, they give you all your playbooks, and then when they cut you, they kick the playbook back. They ain't sending no playbook on no plane to nobody.
And you best eat that chicken salad. Oh wait, that's not the same league. AJ, what's the guy that you are just dying to talk about other than Khalil Shakir?
Do you not know? Okay, listen, we can't. I'm doing this for the Bills Mafia, to be honest, because this is about to put me at a level of Dylan from that one time when he put 3 special team players in his top 10. Because I am about to rave about a special team player. We talk about people don't play a down in the NFL, so you don't know. This guy hasn't played a down in the NFL, and I'm going to tell you, Matt Araiza, the punt god, is already the best punter in the NFL. I have never seen a leg. Look at the depth of this kick from his end zone. Look where this damn thing lands. This man put it in the 20 from in his own end zone, and he has done this over and over and over again. 29 punts of 50-plus yards, 14 punts of 60-plus yards, 2 punts of 80-plus yards, 27 punts inside the 20. Talk about being able to stop and or flip the field and then have a defense right behind it. And not to mention, he don't mind dropping somebody. He's got swag. He knows he's good at it. He will run. He runs down the field every time to knock the ball carrier out. This is the punt god is in Buffalo. I'm about it. I can't wait to watch him. We always have punters like this. Remember, Marquette King had the swag, was a great punter. Johnny Hecker for a little bit had the swag, was a great punter. We got another one. They gave him the nickname Punt God. I hope y'all caught all that with my freezing self. Dope. Put it in there. Great draft pick. A++. Shout out Porto.
That's a left-footed McCafe.
Can I say I thought this was the number 1 punter in the draft, and then somebody told me why he wasn't. And I figured out, and I'm like, you know what? They're right. He's going to be a great punter.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking it. But you want to know why he's not the number 1 punter? If you watch all of those highlights, when the returner actually picked up the ball, you see him run for 20 plus yards. He outkicks a lot of his coverage. There is an art to punting. And in the NFL, I'm sure they will fix that. They'll be like, hey, you can't kick it 80 yards and let the guy run back 40 yards. Like, that's not going to work. That's not what we're trying to do. In the NFL, they love fair catches. They want you to kick it high and to where the guy can't return it at all. You can outkick your coverage. I think that's why he did go as the 3rd punter, I believe it was, because the kid from Georgia and the kid from Penn State, I believe it was, they're really good about pinning guys deep and, distance in the air or length in the air and stuff like that. Hang time. But the boot itself is just something to marvel at, being able to kick the ball that far. And it does come in handy when you're backed up in your own end zone and you need to create some field position. So they're definitely a plus there. That's why you see guys like this get drafted in the 4th round.
That was the most knowledgeable I've ever heard AJ on this show. And it was for a punter.
And it was a damn punter.
For a mid-round
shame to your
punter.
damn self.
You have come such a long way from our first show, you and I together, where you were just disrespecting kickers, to now blowing your load over a mid-round punter.
Why is it? We are supposed to talk about sports
Dylan,
and players. I talk about one player. I talk about one team. And for the rest of my life, they've got to be the guys I rep. You guys are crazy.
Dylan, could you imagine
Jags
fans absolutely losing their shit over drafting Brian Anger in the 3rd round of that draft?
Can he kick 80 yards at will?
I don't know. I didn't give a shit about punters.
Can he place kick a field goal back to back to back to back?
That's good. That's good. That's good. All right. That's the
He's
Bills.
got to be able
That's
to hold balls too. You can't do that job unless you can hold balls. And he's
all right.
got to hold balls.
This is it. That's it. Let's move on. Let's see how the rest of this AFC shook out here. The Jets obviously a 3.22, and you know what, Dylan, you suck. By the way, you suck. I'm pretty sure your F to Jeremy Ruckert put the Jets this low. And they
had a D.
It was the F and the D, which made the grade point average low, but it shouldn't take away from what the Jets did. This is substantial. I talk about every pick mattering, and remember, they didn't draft after the 4th round, so that 4th round pick was weighted heavier, which is why it's a 3.22 instead of upwards of a 3.7. So the Jets won, though. You look at that, the Jets won.
Yeah, it's wild to think that, because like you literally look at it, it's like the first 5 picks, or the first 4 picks A+, first 4 picks A+, first 4 picks A+. Dylan, you gave the Breece Hall pick a B+, because you decided to give Tyquan Thornton in the 2nd round an A+, but Breece Hall in the 2nd round couldn't get an A. Clown
Who has
shoes,
more yards
bro.
end of
Clown
season?
shoes.
Breece or Oh, that's stupid, Breece.
That's not even close. It's Breece Hall.
Tyquan
Thornton. Tyquan Thornton. Let's be honest. Tyquan Thornton with Bill Belichick might be cut before week 1.
Mistakes were made. Mistakes were made.